Welcome to the Near Memo, a weekly conversation about search, social, and commerce. What happened, why it matters, and the implications for local. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Near Memo today with Greg and Mike. David is out, and we will today be talking about AI organized pages, which were announced at Google I/O and now are being rolled out in the restaurant category, at least, with more to come. We're also going to talk about Facebook's new local tab, another effort to sort of take a run at local. And then in the third hour, I almost said the third item today is brand keys, brand loyalty index, which they do every year, and Google took a big hit in terms of alleged loyalty over the course of the last 2 years, and so we'll talk about whether that means anything and what the implications are for that. So, Mike, why don't you lead off with the AI organized pages?
So I started seeing AI organized pages in restaurants over the past 3 or 4 days, and I've done a number of screenshots that I want to share and talk about. So this search was best cocktail bar. I did it in New York City. I did it in Rochester.
So we're showing, for people that are just listening, we're showing a screenshot of a mobile search result that Mike is describing.
Right. And if you want to see these, either you can come to YouTube or we will include a few of these screenshots on the website. So either come to the website or go to YouTube. So there's several things amazing about it. It's a series of subtopically organized carousels. So I searched for best cocktail bar. It then shows a carousel for top rated cocktail bars, another carousel immediately under it for speakeasies, then rooftop bars, hotel bars, classic cocktail lounges, cocktail bars, artisanal cocktail bars with great food, outdoor cocktail bars, late night cocktail bars with happy hours, budget cocktail bars. I mean,
it goes on and on.
It goes on and on. Very large visuals with carousels that show ratings and a category and an address and their open status. You can scroll, I think it's 6 crossed on the carousel. At the top of the page, there's a map. The map is currently buggy because when you click on it, it opens a map of the world with the one pin in New York City, and you have to scroll in to see the top rated ones. But then as you go down, there's a choice under each of these carousels for more places. So at the highest level, what's happening is Google is taking sort of categorical knowledge that they have as well as other search queries that they've cataloged, and they're rearranging those in the context of a single search result, allowing a searcher to do a faceted dive into a more specific type of cocktail bar. Totally dominates the page. I mean, you've got to scroll and scroll and scroll to see Reddit. This is often the first result after these, or Yelp or Eater or one of those. They also, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, so this seems to be a sort of a substitute for AI overviews in a way. It's not the same thing because you're not getting any explanation of anything. There's no text at the top of the page, but they haven't figured out what to do with local and AI overviews, and maybe this is their way forward with that.
Right. So a couple of under each carousel, you can select more places. On second through the 8th or 10th carousel, there's also a choice to see these locations on a map that pops into the carousel view, so you can easily scroll and find some place that's local. And what I found interesting was this particular screenshot is New York, and it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 carousels. Obviously, New York City is a big cocktail town. But if you go to, say, Rochester with the same search, you get half that number, or 4 or 5 carousels before it goes to organic. And if you do the same search in Buffalo, you don't get carousels at all. You get the traditional 3-pack and then Reddit.
So the ever-present
Reddit, yes. And then on all of these, Yelp is pretty far down. And then finally, I'm just going to play a little video here. But as you click say, more places for one of these carousels, and it takes you to a faceted, what do you call those things at the top, the chiclet
Refinement.
search refinement at the top, which gives you sort of the local finder, which is basically a visual search of, say, rooftop cocktail bars only.
So no carousels, but a long finder
Long
equivalent.
finder with no organic results.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So these are essentially query refinements, right? Or based on Google's data, probably we can make the assumption that these are the kinds of things that people search for, probably once they do an initial search, and then these are refinements or follow up searches, or perhaps a result of behavioral signals
Right.
that Google has captured.
Yeah, it may be coming from, I mean, it doesn't seem to be terribly related to categories. So these categories into which they are placed are being driven either by user behavior or by other signals like reviews or other information. Doesn't seem to be related to the Google category, although it's possible that comes into play. One other little interesting tidbit on the Buffalo result with the 3-pack, we're also now seeing nearby offers and events, which takes offers and events from Google Posts, but it also takes offers and events from Facebook showing up as a carousel under the 3-pack, which is a sort of a new carousel display. New in two senses. One, it's a carousel showing post information, but two, it's also taking third-party stuff like Facebook as well.
So does this sort of revive the fortunes of Google Posts?
Well, it certainly brings it back into the realm of reasonable
Relevance?
to do
Yeah.
relevance if your particular search category is surfacing offers and events. I have been seeing these under Google Maps where things are often tested. So my sense is it's going to roll out more widely. So I think offers and events might be a current play for Posts. Posts has been very erratic, the amount of space it's given,
Yeah.
when it's given it, where it's given it. But this shows on a general search, which is where it would be the most valuable. Now, like I said, it also is grabbing it from Facebook. So if you're already doing it in Facebook, you may be getting coverage there and you don't need to worry about Posts, but it would make sense. Now, from an antitrust point of view, I find the category choice fascinating because this is one of Yelp's strong areas.
It's one of its two really strong categories.
Right. And Yelp, as we know, sued Google for antitrust violations, claiming that local is a unique market and local ads are a unique market. And Google has played dirty tricks to keep people out.
This would seem to validate their perspective in a certain way because, they're treating this. Presumably this is going to roll out to non-local categories. That's sort of what was implied by Liz Reed in the Google I/O and then in the blog post, that this would start in these recipes and recipes is a non-local category, and then would over time go into more categories. But this different treatment, at least of restaurants versus other things, suggests that it is kind of a unique animal in a way. We'll see.
Yeah, the question is, will it roll out to which other local categories? I mean, unlike hotels or lawyers, this is not a heavily advertised category.
Well, that's what I was going to bring up, is that there's no ads here. It's not a heavily monetized category. And I wonder in these other future categories, where are the ads going to be? Are they going to be threaded throughout in between the carousels? Are they going to be at the top? Certainly Google is going to want to give ads prominence for obvious reasons, and so it'll be interesting to see how that integrates.
Well, in every other category where there are a lot of ads, we see ads at the top of the local finder, which would work
the bottom
perfectly well in this, and the bottom and the middle of the local finder. We saw Matt McGee did a post the other day where we saw LSA ads directly in the Google business profile for realtors.
Right, so competitive ads.
Competitive ads. So Google has a lot of surfaces to show ads. I don't think we need to worry about that.
I'm quite worried about
where they're going to show them. They'll find a spot.
Yeah,
it's a particularly aggressive act. a particularly aggressive display that says that local is part of search. Local isn't unique, and we're going to handle it the way we
which
want to
is
handle it.
right, which is their position in the European Union in response to the Digital Markets Act. You
Yes,
can't really regulate this because this is part of our core search function or
functionality, right?
content.
And it's
Well,
going to become a matter of fact before a court of law in the next couple of months. We'll see whether
yeah.
Google is local is a unique market with unique ads. So,
It,
along
it
with this, you pointed out, and I don't know much about it, but we started seeing people started seeing recipe AI recipe results that are
quick. There's a
similar.
quick view, right? So a couple of people talked about this, and Barry Schwartz wrote it up. There's a quick view button that has appeared in the recipes category, which allows you, and I haven't been able to reproduce it. So you're able to essentially look at all the content in the recipe without clicking through to the page or the blog that hosts the particular recipe. So it's a way for users to just see everything without a click, and certainly for the bloggers and the publishers on the other side without an ad impression, which is so important to these recipe bloggers that they tell their life story so they can create more scrollable inventory to throw in more tile ads and video ads.
All right.
Um, but it's the way that it's related is that it's sort of capturing the user's attention, keeping it within sort of the Google environment, and um, you know
And
cause
we're
they don't
in
have
an
to click.
environment that is much more visual, much more focused on a younger audience, many more images, much less text. I mean, this has been a trend at Google in local for a number of
Right.
years, but we're seeing it really come full bore here, where the first three, four, five screens are that presentation, and it also is functioning in this way to sort of drive the user deeper into Google, give Google more opportunity to show, and speaks to the strength of local, at least in restaurants right now. I mean, it would be interesting if we it would be interesting to do a user study with these sorts of results to see how people respond to them.
Right. I mean, I think that'll be very interesting. So, just to invoke Jerry Dishler, who used to be the VP of Ads, that wasn't his title, but that was his role, and he's now in Google Cloud. He said in this was uh, probably at least a year ago. Yeah, 2022 Google Marketing Live event. We're transforming the SERP into an endless stream of visual ideas.
Right. It was only a year ago, COVID time.
Yeah. Well, so I was struck by. I mean, obviously the way in which the organic results are pushed so far down the page in mobile that they basically won't be seen at all. I mean, that you scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling before you get to them. People aren't going to scroll that much, even though people do scroll a lot on mobile devices. It's unlikely because there's so much information. I mean, we know from our research that when the pack appears or the pack equivalent appears, people are captured by that because it's visually stimulating and there's images and reviews and all of that. So there's no reason for people, especially younger people who have expressed a desire to not have to click back and forth and filter all the Google results and invest too much time in figuring out what's what. They're just going to see whatever and just engage with those results and forget about the organic stuff. Now we don't know if that'll be true in other categories. We'll have to wait and see. But it's certainly disturbing from a publisher standpoint, and for other than a local marketer perspective, somebody who's operating websites or trying to do SEO on behalf of websites, it's problematic. I am not a fan of all the visual clutter. I may be an outlier in that regard, but it just seems like it's very cluttered. It's very fatiguing for me to look at that page. It does remind me of TikTok a little bit. It's TikTok, of course, doesn't have the TikTok search results page. If you do the same search, cocktail bars in NYC, you get a kind of vaguely similar looking page, although there are no carousels and you don't get to click in for lists of businesses. But I definitely think that it is, as you say, I think partly intended to appeal to younger audiences who are looking at social media feeds, and it has a sort of a vaguely similar appearance. So, and it's also similar to a little bit similar to the new local tab on Facebook, which I've only seen screenshots and I forget the resolution of the GIF debate. Is it GIF?
It's GIF.
Yeah. So Facebook had a blog post. They had an event in Austin, Texas, and on October 4th they said we're doing a whole bunch of new stuff with Messenger and with communities on Messenger, groups. But they also said that they were testing new local and explore tabs that aggregate content from Reels, marketplace groups, and events on Facebook. Um, and then there's also going to be full screen video or whatever. But that was interesting to me without having seen it live, because Facebook has made several attempts to do things in local. I mean, over the years, they tried to buy Waze, and they've tried a bunch of different things, and none of it really has succeeded. You could sort of argue, as I did in the newsletter this week, that Marketplace is their most successful local thing, but Marketplace is very spammy, and it's like Craigslist basically. So it's interesting to see them sort of pull this together. I mean, it's smart in a way because they've already got all this content. It doesn't involve creation of anything new. So they're pulling it together, and then they're going to, kind of give people this continuous feed of this information, and it has a chance to succeed, I think, and potentially lure some younger users back into Facebook. In the reports of young people defecting from Facebook or abandoning Facebook are sort of exaggerated. There's still a lot of young people on Facebook, meaning people under 25 or people under 35, but really under 25.
Thanks for joining David, Mike, and Greg. To stay on top of the latest developments in local, subscribe to our newsletter at nearmedia.co. We'll see you next week.